For years, the idea of alien life has always felt just out of reach, something scientists talk about but never actually prove. But recently, that line has started to blur, because instead of just theories, we're now seeing real discoveries, real data, and real incidents that don't fully make sense. In late 2025, footage presented during a House oversight hearing showed something that immediately caught people's attention. A US missile was fired at a metallic orb off the coast of Yemen, and instead of exploding or damaging the object, the missile appeared to bounce off it completely. There was no visible impact effect, no debris, no sign of damage to the orb at all. Just a direct hit and nothing happened. If the footage is accurate, it suggests the object was made from a material or protected by a technology far beyond anything currently known, because under normal conditions, a missile strike like that should have ended the encounter instantly. In March 2026, former intelligence official Christopher Mellon made a claim that pushed the conversation even further. He stated that the US government is in possession of high-resolution satellite images of unidentified craft. Not the usual blurry footage captured from jets, but clear orbital images showing objects moving in ways that don't match any known aircraft. If true, this would mean that these objects are not just being spotted occasionally, they are being tracked from space in detail over time. And that raises a bigger question. If images like that exist, why haven't they been released? As of April 2026, pressure has been building around a group of videos the Pentagon has not made public. A congressional task force led by Anna Paulina Luna demanded the release of 46 specific UAP recordings, many of which are said to show transmedium craft. These are objects that can move from the sky straight into the ocean without slowing down, without breaking apart, and without creating the kind of impact you would expect. That kind of movement shouldn't be possible with any known technology. And according to insiders, these videos don't just show it once, they show it happening repeatedly. One of the most unusual pieces of evidence doesn't come from the sky, it comes from beneath the ocean. Retired Rear Admiral Tim Gaudet has publicly stated that he believes non-human intelligence may already be operating in Earth's oceans. He points to sonar data collected by the Navy that shows objects moving underwater at extreme speeds, in some cases thousands of miles per hour. At those speeds, any known object should create massive turbulence or simply break apart, but these don't. They move cleanly, with no bubbles, no resistance, as if they are not interacting with the water in the way normal objects do. In March 2026, something small but strange quietly appeared in public records. The US government officially registered the domains Aliens.Gov and Alien.Gov. On its own, that might seem like nothing more than precaution or internal project, but according to sources, these domains may be part of a larger plan to prepare for public-facing information about the topic. Not denial, not silence, but organization. And for many people, that shift in approach feels significant because it suggests the conversation is moving from "this isn't real" to "how do we explain this to everyone?" In April 2026, scientists working on Project Ceti made a discovery that completely changed how researchers think about communication itself. By using artificial intelligence to analyze sperm whale clicks, they found something unexpected. The sounds were not random. They followed patterns. Structured patterns. Some even showed combinations that resembled vowels and repeated sequences, similar to how human language is built. What makes this so important is not just that whales may have a complex language, it's what that means for everything else. Because for decades, scientists searching for alien life have been listening for signals that look like human communication. Clear, organized, and familiar. But this discovery proves something different. Intelligent communication can exist in a form that doesn't sound like language at all to us, which raises a much bigger possibility. If something as intelligent as whales can go undetected as language for this long, then it's entirely possible that signals from outside Earth have already been received, and we simply didn't recognize them for what they were. For decades, one of the biggest mysteries in science has been the silence of the universe. With billions of galaxies and trillions of planets, there should be signs of intelligent life everywhere, and yet we hear almost nothing. But recently, researchers uncovered a detail that could completely change that assumption. As radio signals travel across space, they don't move through empty nothingness. They pass through stellar plasma, the charged particles constantly being released by stars. And this plasma doesn't just sit there, it interferes. It stretches, bends, and distorts signals as they pass through it, slowly breaking them apart over vast distances. So what might start as a clean, narrow transmission could arrive here as something completely unrecognizable. Scattered, warped, and blended into what looks like background noise. That means the silence we've been hearing may not be silence at all. It may just be a signal we don't yet know how to reconstruct. And if that's true, then the search for alien communication hasn't been failing, it's been misunderstood. In early 2026, astronomers identified a new object entering our solar system from deep space, only the third confirmed interstellar visitor ever recorded. Named 3I/Atlas, it immediately stood out, not just because of where it came from, but because of how it behaved. It was moving at extreme speeds, far beyond what is typical for objects passing through the solar system, and as it traveled closer to Jupiter, something unusual happened. Its behavior began to change. Instead of acting like a standard comet or asteroid, its composition and movement didn't fully match expectations. Normally, objects like this follow predictable patterns based on heat, gravity, and material composition. But this didn't fully align with those models. And while scientists are still exploring natural explanations, some researchers have pointed out something more difficult to ignore. If an object doesn't behave like known natural material, and it doesn't match expected patterns, then the possibility has to be considered that it may not be entirely natural at all. Even if that idea sounds extreme, it's one that continues to come up whenever something like this appears. In 2024, NASA's Perseverance rover made a discovery on Mars that immediately stood out from everything else around it. Inside a rock formation known as the Chayava Falls, scientists found small ring-like patterns scattered across the surface, now referred to as leopard spots. At first glance, they might not seem like much, but on Earth, these exact type of chemical patterns are strongly associated with microbial activity. Specifically, they form when microscopic life interacts with minerals inside rock over long periods of time, leaving behind distinct chemical signatures. That's what makes this discovery so important, because it's not just a random shape. It's a pattern we already understand in a biological context. NASA has been careful not to jump to conclusions, and they've emphasized that non-biological processes could still explain it, but at the same time, they haven't ruled out the possibility of past life either. And if these formations were created by microbes even billions of years ago, it would mean life didn't just exist somewhere far away in the universe. It existed right next to us on a planet we can already reach. In 2024, astronomers used artificial intelligence to scan more than 5 million stars, searching for anything unusual, anything that didn't fit known patterns. What they found was unexpected. 7 stars were emitting unusually high levels of infrared radiation, far more than scientists would expect based on natural processes alone. Normally, stars release energy in predictable ways, and excess heat like this usually has a clear explanation. But in these cases, the data didn't line up cleanly with anything known. One theory that has been suggested and taken more seriously than usual is the possibility of Dyson structures. These are massive hypothetical constructions built by advanced civilizations to capture energy from their stars, essentially surrounding or partially enclosing them to harness power. It's still just a theory. There is no confirmation that these structures exist, but what makes this moment different is that scientists aren't just imagining the idea anymore. They have actual stars they can point to and say something about them doesn't make sense. And if even one of those signals turns out to have an artificial origin, it wouldn't just suggest alien life exists. It would suggest it's far more advanced than anything we've ever built. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye!